And
Oh
right
my
there, what was that
God.
feeling
I
like?
literally just walked over to those guys and said, this fight's going to be so unfucking believable. Did you see that stare down?
Yeah.
So awesome.
What do you think about Anderson's behavior? I mean, we all looked at it last time. We were like, why is this guy clowning around? He's kind of jovial today, but he doesn't seem like he's just clowning around like he was last time.
You could tell by his demeanor in this press conference, he's interacting with you guys. He's not giving you one-word answers. He seems like he's in a good place. I'm so excited for this fight.
Dana, Anderson declined to name any specifics in terms of what's changed about his camp. I asked you about that a couple of weeks ago in Sacramento. Just the last couple of days being around him, have you specifically seen anything different that strikes you as different about his surroundings?
No, not really. No, I just think two things. Obviously, the way that he acted today at the press conference, the shape he's in, you can see he's in great shape, and that stare down says it all. I'm telling you, Kevin only asked that question at the thing. When I met with him on the Thursday, he was fired up. He was ready. He wanted the rematch.
Do you think he needed like this kind of motivation to keep like wanting to fight again?
No, I think he went in there and he's the greatest ever, and he got beat that night and lost his belt, and he wants it back now. I always try to explain to you guys, there's a lot of things that go along with that belt, a lot of things that go along with it, and he wants it back.
You bring up a good point about how engaged he seemed today. Can you think back to when the last time you remember seeing him that engaged was?
It's been a while. It's been a while.
You confirmed that Vitor's next, but is there any situation where a trilogy would make sense? I mean, let's say Anderson does win and you go, wow, that fight was close.
Yeah, anything's possible.
Right.
I mean, anything is possible. I would never say no, but Vitor is, if they go in and it's a decisive win like the last fight was, Vitor's next.
But if it's controversial, maybe you think.
I don't know. I don't even think like that. I mean, I can't even think like that. It's just, we got to see what happens.
How about with Verdum? You mentioned that he would be next.
He's going to fight. I mean, we saw what happens with guys like Rashad and other people. When you sit around and wait, who knows what's going to happen? Kane could get hurt again, and then what? Now you've been out 2 years or however long he'll be out. It just makes no sense.
And have you spoken with him about it, or
we met with him a couple weeks ago, and so I think he understood where we were on that thing that we wanted to do. We wanted him to fight.
You were so fired up, like with Bigfoot Silva and Mark Hunt fight. You have like T-shirts and hoodies. What did you think about like his drug test?
It bummed me out. I was bummed out, and I love that fight so much. Love that fight. I can't remember. Tell me the last time you saw two heavyweights go at it back and forth like that ever. And I mean, it's been cool, man. It's been a long time. So I was bummed out.
These end-of-year fight cards are always so stacked. I mean, you look at the prelims, and any of those fights could belong on the main card of any other pay-per-view. Is there a lot of extra time toward the end of the year where you have to sit down and look and make tough decisions about what goes on that main card?
Yeah, well, we always want to build a card that we always want to build a card that people are excited to see, and we got a lot of guys injured the first half of this year, but we're getting it together. There's a lot of positive things happening already this year. Hopefully I'll announce a lot of stuff on Saturday, trying to get it together so that we can. I say this, I'm sitting in this chair saying this to you guys every year at the end of every year. Every year we take it to another level. I personally think 2013 was the best year of fights we've ever had in the history of the company. It was unbelievable, and we've got a lot of cool things coming up this next year, going right into 14, that hopefully I can announce on Saturday.
And speaking of those prelims, Uriah Hall had a lot of hype going into the Ultimate Fighter, and then afterwards, you had some questions about his mentality as a fighter. Is there a better status check for that than fighting Chris Lieben?
No, I think it's a great fight for him, and I think it's a great fight for Lieben. We'll find out. We'll see on Saturday. I got some text from Uriah saying, I'm glad you said all that stuff about me because it motivated me, and, so we'll see on Saturday. He's a great kid. I hope, It's funny because it's two of the guys that I like a lot, facing each other.
Did you kind of do that on purpose? Because I noticed that you were bringing up Uriah Hall's name without anybody even bringing it up for you.
I was purposely sticking it to him, no doubt about it.
I mean, if he comes out and just beats Chris, but looks kind of like hesitant, what do you say to him? What do you do with him?
I don't know. I got to see the fight. I got to see how he fights and what happens, if he's just been so passive in his fights, you know.
How about for Lieben? I mean, obviously, this is kind of a career evaluating type fight.
Yeah,
I know he's one of your favorites. But
Lieben's one of those guys who's again, guys like Anderson Silva and Josh Barnett, and you don't see guys like this that can stay at that level as they continue to get older and older. And Chris Lieben might be at that point where he's, winding up his career. When Chris Lieben has his head right and everything, his life outside the octagon is great. He had a school, he was doing great things, he's been with this girl for a long time who cares about, everything in his life can be great as long as he stays the right path. So, Chris Lieben's had a great run. He's a guy, imagine season 1 of The Ultimate Fighter without Chris Lieben, Chris Lieben was the guy, when we look back at it now, you don't think about it this way, but when Anderson Silva first came into the UFC, he fought Chris Lieben. That was his first fight. And, now when you look back on it, it's like, oh, he fought Chris Lieben. Chris Lieben was undefeated in the UFC at the time, had a chin of granite, nobody could knock him out. And what Anderson Silva did to him, and Chris Lieben was 100% confident that he was going to beat Anderson Silva that night. And it's funny that we talk about him and they're on this card together, but, Chris Lieben's had a great run one way or another. And he's a guy that I will always respect and be there for in some way, shape, or form.
Both of these fights can easily headline any card you wanted. What made the decision to put them together?
It's the end of the year, and it lined up, and it made sense.
It seems like, in a lot of people's minds, fair or not fair, that Chris Lieben is going to have to beat Anderson Silva twice to get full credit for it once. Do you think that's more... Chris Weidman, I'm sorry.
I think you said Lieben.
I did, yeah. Chris Weidman. Do you think that's more of a testament? Do you think it's Weidman being shortchanged, or do you think that's more of a testament to the legend of Anderson Silva?
You want to hear something crazy? So I was in New Jersey, me and Lorenzo, and Chris Weidman came up to us and said, I want this fight. I'm ready for this fight. He said, I'm going to beat him in the first fight, and then I will give you an immediate rematch because people won't believe it after I do it. Verbatim what he said to us. And that's what he did. It's crazy.
Do you think that's fair? Do you think he's been shortchanged, that he hasn't been given enough credit?
When you knock out the greatest fighter of all time and the way that it went down, yeah, that's going to be that way. He's the underdog here, too, in Vegas,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's justified because look at it's funny because I look on the like even the rankings. Anderson Silva's number 3 on the pound-for-pound list, and all the stuff that happens. Guy's been on the biggest streak ever. He's the greatest ever, and then you lose one fight, and that's the way the way people deal with it.
What do you see with Misha in her position? It's almost like when you talk to people, she's the lamb being led to slaughter in this fight.
Yeah, I know. I think it's that's a testament to what people think of Ronda. Ronda is such a beast, but Misha. Forget even in her losses, man. She goes to war. She can take some shots. She can get into exchanges. She's great on her feet. She's great on the ground. Even in her last fight with Ronda, she got out of Ronda's armbar. Then when Ronda got on her second one, she started cranking it. But Misha's tough, and Misha's a live dog. Not a lamb, a live dog.
Yeah. Any update on Dan Henderson, his contract?
No,
Henderson?
nothing yet. No.
Okay.
There's still a few contracts we're out there working on.
Do you have a ticket sale update for this card?
Yeah, we're so sold out on this fight, it's insane. There's some singles left out there. I think we're at 6.3 million right now. Yeah.
When you talk about the women's division, Kat Zingano, have you heard much about her recovery process and when is she expected back?
Yeah, she's doing good, and hopefully she stays healthy, and we can get her back by summer.
Would she be an immediate contender right away?
Yeah, well, she's the number 1. Yeah, she's numero uno. When she's healthy, she'll be ready to go.
Also in that division, Sarah McMahon. What's the latest with her?
Yeah, she took a little time off. Was dealing with some personal issues, and she'll be back soon too, right after the first of the year.
You were talking about being bumped earlier. That was in reference to the TRT thing. Right?
Yeah.
Does that change your mindset at all? That's twice now you guys have improved. Or what did you guys improve on? You improved Silva's. The Milwaukee Commission improved.
So here's what happened. So I told you we test the shit out of these guys that are doing TRT. We gave him his last test, right? The week of the fight. He was perfect. He took another shot. Just put him over.
So it's nothing about the process. It was a personal mistake.
Yeah, and and what does that extra shot really do for you? What did it really do for you the week of the fight? It destroyed everything. Now you don't get the win money that we were given. We were giving both guys show and win money, and you won the bonus. Now you lost both your win money and your bonus money. Ouch. So all of you guys out there that are on TRT, and it's legal, you want to fuck around and take that shot after you've been tested, there's the consequences. The consequences could not be worse. Now you're on suspension for a year. You lost your win and your bonus money, and I'm sure your sponsors aren't thrilled either.
Well, you had the situation with Rothwell too, and he says that he felt he did it all correctly under the commission, and somehow it happened. I mean,
I don't care. You're a grown man. You know. You know what's going on.
Are you getting any indication from fighters that are on that exemption that whether or not they think it's any help to them at all, that maybe all of this is not worth it?
But here's what it does. Where it really helps you is during your training.
Right.
While you're training, it helps you heal faster and all this other stuff. Taking that extra shot the week of the fight just puts your levels up through the roof and doesn't really give you any extra, you know. If he didn't take that shot, they would have the same fight probably. It's just not worth the risk. Why risk it? Now you see the consequences.
And do you think that any of the fighters are coming around to that idea, though, that maybe this just isn't worth it?
If you have a quarter of a brain, it should.
So when you tested him, was he low? Because he was talking about him being low.
No. He was
so
good.
Based on your feelings on it, is there any kind of inkling to say, all right, just get rid of it completely? Even with the situations that have come up, you still don't.
We're always going to do what the Athletic Commission does. We're always going to go with the Athletic Commission. Listen, do you think it does? Do you think it's great for me that this guy? I told you guys how much I love that fight and how into that fight I was, and it's just like now it ruins it for me. You know, I talked to Mark Hunt. Mark Hunt's like, let me tell you what, brother. I don't care what he was on or what he did. Two guys went in there and did their thing, and you know, he actually defended him and was like, that dude went toe to toe with me, and we put on something that, you know, it was pretty cool. You know, actually Mark Hunt got me in a better mood about it, you know, but still, legally,
the shirt again.
The way legally, you know, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Nothing.
So rumor has it that Brock Lesnar's coming for 168. Is he coming for the fight, or is he coming to talk business?
Really? I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Okay.
Honestly. I don't know. We good? All right, you guys. Happy holidays.